All right, boys, we are back for 2024 first potty for the year. I'm super excited. Scotty, how's everything going? I haven't had a chance to even talk to you, so I'm keen to get a little bit of an update on how
No.
everything's going over there, how cold it is, what's it like Christmas and New Year's in London. So let us know. Give us a download.
Yeah, it has been a little bit of time. We haven't had a chance. Everyone's been busy with their bits and pieces, but it's been good, man. It's very, very, very cold over here at the moment. Christmas. Have we not had one since Christmas?
Yeah,
Wow, yeah. So Christmas was good. It was pretty low key. I actually spent most of Christmas in bed with Harvey because he was really sick. He was under the weather, so I didn't even get to have Christmas lunch. We just sort of chilled out watching Home Alone in bed, which was still cool.
that's the
But
best.
yeah, yeah. But no, it's been good. It's just been really, really busy because it's not, they don't have holidays over here like we do back in Oz where we get like 5, 6 weeks off over Jan. So it's basically just, the main days and then it's full steam ahead. So my schedule with Saracen has been pretty busy. We've got a big roster slash away game roster throughout January. So there's a fair bit of travel but other than that, it's just been, I feel like it's starting to go a little bit quicker now that it's in the new year. It's always like it's already 9 days into January. So, it's going good, but eagerly getting excited to. I was saying to you boys just before off air that I'm getting excited to get over to Bali and just to experience some of that warmth, and it's not that far away now, which is pretty exciting. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to, especially because Jen and the kids go back in like a little over 3 weeks. So I'm going to be rolling solo for a couple of months, which will be challenging, but no, otherwise I'm going good, man.
That's awesome. How about you, MG? How's everything going over there? How was your break over Christmas and New Year's? And did you get some time off? Did you get away?
I did. And I apologize if anyone can hear my barking dog in the background, which is why I just had to mute myself then. But hopefully she's not going to overpower my voice. But no, we had a great break, man. We went up to the beach house and unfortunately, like everyone, the weather wasn't amazing. So it didn't feel like the typical Christmas, New Year beach holiday that we have up at Inverloch. But, I still made sure that I jumped in the water, even though it was freezing. I got this thing, man. It's like if I don't jump in the water, I don't feel like I'm on holidays.
Yeah.
But had some really great training sessions, enjoyed some good food, and since then it's really just all been about getting ready for Bubs, which crazy to think we're just 5 weeks away, man. So
I know.
this is next week's week 35, so we could be we could be due any time, which is exciting. So beyond pump, I've been reading. You saw my thumbnail books, and I was talking to you boys off air about how just everything that's showing up on all of my social medias is related to just being a new dad and what I'm in for. And the algorithms are putting plenty of videos on sleepless nights and changing nappies at 4 a.m. and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be leaning on Scotty for some advice in my check-in on how to manage sleep a little bit better. I think.
Did you
You'll be fine,
did
bro.
you
You
have some
guys will be
time off
great.
coaching or what did you do over that break? Did the gym
Just
close
one
down?
week, man. So just that Christmas week, and then things back to normal for everyone on the 2nd of Jan. But yeah, everyone that was competing in season A was as normal. We just did the check-in on the Wednesday, which was the 27th. So anyone that was competing, nothing changed, and then everyone else check-ins resumed the week after. But we were in there having a look at trackers and spreadsheets. So if there was anyone that needed a change, we would still make that change and maybe just send you a message or an email rather than a long 10-minute, 15-minute video like we normally do. But for the most part, everyone was pretty self-sufficient, which is nice to be able just to wind down for 1 week. As you boys know, you can spend Monday and Tuesday. I know, Scotty, you mix yours up a bit more than me and MT, but 8 to 10 hours recording 2 days. So it's a big difference not doing that.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely different because for me, I do my check-ins all Monday and half Tuesday. And the last 2 weeks, obviously, both Mondays has been Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So I
Yeah.
shifted mine to a Tuesday. And over that time, I think I reduced my load to about 40% capacity, where it was just majority people that were in season A or brand new clients that had just started. And I can't just be like, hey, welcome to the team, but I'm off for 2 weeks. So I kind of kept check-ins for those peeps, but everyone else was, off season or going away. So they were good to go for about 2 weeks of not really hearing from me much. But again, same. I was still checking things, and if anything needed to be addressed, then we'd address it. And if I got messages of any concerns, then we'd answer it. But other than that, tried to take a little bit of a back step from coaching because I know this year's going to be a big year for all us boys. So obviously Scotty's still over there for another 6 months, maybe 5, 6 months. MG's got a baby coming, and obviously it's going to be a big year for some other things that are going on. So it was good to just reset, recharge for a little bit, and take some time away. But I think all of us were pretty much back into full swing this week, and looking forward to start 2024. Obviously, we're working with people that are in season A at the moment. So, most of them are probably depending on what shows they're doing. They're like 16, 18, 19 weeks out. Really depends on what their show's doing. What's majority of your peeps doing, Scotty, for season 8? Like, how far out are they sitting at the moment?
I think most of mine are 15 weeks out. So
Mhm.
off the top of my head, I don't even know what show that is. I just have on there longitudinal periodization, like where it is from show one. So I'm pretty sure that's where I don't, yeah, I'm assuming, is it an NBA show?
NBA depends if it's NBA Nationals in Melbourne. That's the 12th of May. So that sits us around about, what, 17, 18 weeks
I
out?
think the ICN rookie show puts them at 14.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
14 in
I
the
don't
rest of
think actually,
14 in the rest of this week.
Hmm.
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think any of mine are doing the rookie show. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, maybe one of my figure girls. I think she said yeah, we haven't actually finalized that. We might not. We're just going to depend. But and I think isn't there a couple of I got some people in New South Wales. I thought there was an early show in New South Wales too. I'd
Yeah.
have to have a look off the top of my head. I'm not even sure. I need to
They're
have a look.
mostly, I think there's only like maybe the rookie shows in March, but the rest are pretty much April
They're
onwards,
in
to be
April.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So even for myself, I don't have anyone at the rookie show in March. It's pretty much April onwards across, most of the states, across most of those feds, because that's pretty much where we start to get the ball rolling with all the big shows. So
Yeah.
super excited.
And
How
it's
about you,
not like I
MG?
don't like putting people in a show for the simple reason that if you've got someone that's going to push on for nationals and you're getting them, ready to rock for show one, it's a long time to live in that condition unnecessarily. So for me, I'm like, for the sake of just doing that one extra show, and it's usually it's kind of a beginner show. It's not normally, seasoned veterans that are doing that show, and it wasn't really designed for that either. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think I can't even remember the last time I had someone in that show. It'd be a few years.
Yeah, same. Like majority of my the people in my team are doing shows that are clumped close together and or pretty much back to
Yeah,
back to get in and get out
yeah,
really really quick and not have it to extend their prep or have a long time between shows. Because yeah, especially if they're a as you said figure or fitness or have to be really really lean or any of your guys obviously to kind of hold
Mhm.
that for so long is very
Yeah.
very
It's tough.
difficult. So, yeah, very
Yeah,
tough.
it's tough.
How about you, MG? Mostly people later in in the season.
I've only got 6 for season A.
Hmm.
And I don't think I don't have anyone for that rookie show either. We've toyed with it with a couple of athletes, but for the same reasoning, we just decided to focus on some other shows later in the season, and just works out better, gives us a little bit more time and time to trial a few other things on the way through. So
Yeah, awesome. I'll most likely still be there and go just to, support the federation, support other people and other coaches that are there. I want to see the venue, obviously, and I think they're going to do a new stage walk or introduction walk. So I'll be keen to take a look at how that all works. So at least I can give feedback to clients and other people in the team. So we'll
yeah,
definitely still be there, but might not have any clients in that one. All right. Do you want to jump into some questions? What do you think? We'll just kick it off straight away.
no, let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So apparently MG, there's some rumors and controversy with some of the things going on. So I'll just read out some of the questions. A lot of rumors circulating. Can you boys share? What's the story with MG and WHPH? What's this new federation MG is judging? Is it true you guys are no longer promoting for A and B? The natural bodybuilding world has lost something so good. MG, I'm going to leave this one to you, mate.
Cool, man. So that's funny. Yeah, I got a lot. So everyone would have seen I reshared the tile about myself judging for the WHPH fitness show, which for anyone who doesn't know, the guys, Ro and Justine, great people out at Lang Lang Vic, which for those that don't know, is kind of on the way down to the Bass Coast, like towards sort of South Gippsland. So they've got a gym out there and they run shows in the past for their members and also for other people who are not their members. And I'm just going down to judge on their May 26th show. They're, as I said, they're wonderful people, and anything that I can do to kind of give back to people in the industry that are trying to do something positive. I said 100%. I'll be more than happy to judge. So I got a lot of messages. People went into like panic mode, and just to clarify, which I think I've said before, there's no issues with the way that we finished up for promoting A and B and stuff. And I think MT said this on there as well. Like everything's great, it's amicable. There's the reasons why I stepped away as being a promoter, which requires a hell of a lot more than just going down to judge for one day. So no one needs to stress. All I can say is go and support the guys. If you haven't heard of them, give them a follow online, and they're just doing great things out there. And I will be down there judging the day with actually Bridget, who MT coaches as well. I think she's actually going to be the head judge. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see the athletes that they bring. I think a lot of the competitors are going to be members from the Work Hard, Play Hard gym, plus anyone else who decides to jump in. So if you're looking for an end of season show and you're not doing anything on the 26th of May, go down and support the guys. I'll be there judging. And it's as simple as that.
That's awesome. I actually know that last year for their show, Alex from Next Gen Visuals,
Yeah.
he was the photographer, videographer there, and he gave me some really, really great feedback about how much he enjoyed the show too. So that's awesome. Great opportunity. Obviously, they're big supporters of us and the podcast, and we appreciate their support too. And that's great that you're able to be a part of it too, MG. I think it'll be a fun day. So yeah, people should definitely get involved.
I think a lot of people maybe saw it and was like, oh, MG left A and B to go and judge that. Guys, you have to understand that, yeah, being a promoter in multiple states versus going down and judging a show are very different levels of responsibility. That show, I get to go down, get to meet a lot of great people. I get to be part of something really exciting for a day, and that's kind of where it ends. So I think a lot of people got a little bit confused and maybe kind of misunderstood what was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, man. I mean, I've been around for a long time. I've been part of the industry in every way except for sitting at a judging panel. So this is fun, man. I'm gonna have a great day.
It'd be awesome for you. I can't wait to hear all about it, to be honest. That'll be cool that you get an opportunity to judge.
So, and obviously sitting next to Bridge will be awesome. She's a legend too. So it's going to be great. So yeah, thanks to the guys for asking me. They did actually say it would be great to have all three of us as judging. So maybe, you know, one day down the track we can all do a little bit of a guest judge there. But yeah, just a great initiative. And if you don't follow them, give them a follow and support them.
Yeah. Also too is there's no rumors about not promoting for A and B. We discussed it publicly the other week on the podcast. So it's not a rumor at all. It's actually public knowledge and we've spoken about it. So there's no rumors.
And everything is totally fine.
Yeah, everything's fine, guys. It's all good. All right, Scotty, there was actually a question for you. People want to know, Scotty, when did you start bodybuilding and how did you get into competing? So give us a bit of a backstory.
Properly bodybuilding, probably like 2016, I really started to get a bit more involved. I was coaching a lot earlier than that and I was in that space, but I think because I was so busy with my coaching and I was doing a lot of hands-on face-to-face and I was still working with a lot of just sporting-based athletes, not just physique-based athletes then. And so that probably took up a bit of my time. And then it was probably only really, I think probably 2016 where I just sort of had the desire to take things a bit more seriously. And then I had always loved the process. Like essentially, I was probably always bodybuilding. I tracked my food. I love training, but I had any desire to get on stage in that sense because I'm a bit of an introvert in that sense. It's probably outside my comfort zone. And my wife Jen was really, really like push. You got to do it. You got to do it. Even from a perspective of like letting people see that like you can talk the talk, but at least you can walk the walk as well. Like and just to have that experience and equally. We both did our first preps together in 2017 and yeah, I just really fell in love with the process and it probably all sort of snowballed from there. But I'd say probably 2016 was when I started to take things a bit more seriously and go from just being an athlete who used to do a lot of running and things like that as well, more of a hybrid athlete as opposed to trying to get bigger and get stronger. Yeah.
So you and Jen did your preps together for the first time?
How awesome is that, man? That's
Yeah,
so
we
good. I saw
did.
that photo
Yeah.
too.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I obviously prepped her for that. And she did really well. She almost won the overall and by her own admission, she was obviously probably not as like intense about everything as I was. She basically only did a 16-week prep. Granted, she's always been, tying in really good shape, but in terms of tracking her food and whatnot, like if she really wanted to, she could quite easily be of like pro-worthy status. She doesn't have any issues training hard, but equally different priorities. She enjoys being social and obviously having kids, it makes it a lot harder. But yeah, a very memorable experience. We both did our preps together, which was pretty cool, and competed on the same day, which was awesome as well.
I was about to ask, so do you have some like photos of you together backstage or even on it? Wouldn't be on stage, but
Yeah, no, actually on stage. So back then, yeah, this is going way, way, way back. So when I first got my pro card in fitness, you actually had to enter a pro qualifier. And so just by chance, the day that I competed, I was fortunate enough I won the overall, which would give you an invitation to enter a pro qualifier. And so I remember Tony saying to me, go on the pro qualifier. This is Tony Lanciano. And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do it. And I went in the pro qualifier, and I think there was 6 or 7 other people, so you had to have won an overall. And I ended up winning that, so I got it. And so when they're like, "I'll bring your trainer on," and I was like, "Jen, jump up on stage."
Oh,
So there's a really cool photo of her and I, of me actually getting my pro card, which was cool. And equally, some shots backstage, which was really cool. Not many people probably have that opportunity to do their first show with their partner, and to have
Man,
that moment. So
that's so
it
cool, man.
comes back as a flashback sometimes in the memories on her phone. It's funny when we
How long have you guys been together at that point?
about 5 years. So we started seeing each other in 2012. So yeah, 5 years. But equally, we didn't have any kids then. So this is the thing: when you're bodybuilding without
It's a
kids,
different
it's
world,
so easy.
right?
You go and train when you want to train. You eat when you want to train. No one's trying to steal your food. But yeah, that's a blast from the past.
So cool, man.
that's awesome. So was
Mm.
that at a national show? I'm just trying to understand the pro qualifier thing. How did that work?
So it was at the Vic. So how it worked, you would, if you won an overall title, you had to either win a state title. Otherwise, if you won the Australian title, which is then how it was like when I won my physique pro card, you had to win the overall Mr. Australia title. But with men's fitness, when I got that in 2017, and I think it was the same in 2016, unless you won the overall Australian title, you had to win a state show. So you had to win the overall, and then you could enter a pro qualifier. And they were structured at different times throughout the year. And it was just luck by chance that there was a pro qualifier on the same day. So I had obviously no expectations. I didn't even know that there was one there. It was just that Tony had told me you can enter to go in that, like go in it. So I was like, oh, all right, I might as well. But yeah, and I think yeah, back then it was if there was a lineup of more than 7, I think the top 2 got it, and if
Mhm.
there was 6 or less, then it was the person who won their pro card.
So at that pro qualifier, the people that you were up against, were they the other state title winners?
They were
Um,
just people, so you could have won. There were people. There was a couple of guys that I remember speaking to backstage that they had prepped all season for this pro qualifier to get their pro card. They didn't go in the state show. There was one other guy who I went up against in the overall. He was in the short class. I was in the tall class, and I beat him. And he and I went at it in the overall, and he had won that show, I think, the year before. So he was going in that pro qualifier anyway, and then everyone else, I have no idea. They had just won state show. I think there was a guy from Queensland, someone from SA, and they had won it not necessarily that season, but from previous seasons as well. So once you had that, I think you had a 2 or 3 year window where you were eligible to enter that pro qualifier.
oh, okay,
But it's
cool.
obviously
I
all
was gonna
changed
ask.
now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that's
That's
really
cool.
interesting.
That's different, yeah.
That's
Yeah, I competed against one of your clients that day, MT. The only other Bridget's ex-partner, when you prepped him,
oh
he
yeah, yeah, yeah.
competed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, he was.
I was there that day too.
You think it was 2018 though? Oh, it might have been 2017. I can't remember actually.
Did he do a couple of preps or not?
No, he only did one. He
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 wore the
did.
light blue. He wore the light blue trunks. I remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I competed against him.
Maybe you did, but he did really, really well. I think he got second overall at a nationals.
Okay.
One step away from getting his pro card at nationals.
Crazy, man.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
that's pretty cool. Geez, back in the day, someone asked me how long have you been a coach, and I was like, oh, since the end of 2016. They're like, oh, okay, wow, that's a long time, and it doesn't feel like a long time for me. But when you calculate the years, this is the longest career or job that I've had because prior to this,
Yeah.
I was, a mechanical engineer for Toyota for like 4 or 5 years, and I was at ANZ as a project manager for like 5 years.
Yeah.
This is the longest career I've had. So
Longest and
Yeah, it's
most
crazy.
successful, man.
it's
You're obviously doing
how
something
things
right.
change. Yeah, how things change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think ICN are doing something a bit different. This is what Tony told me. I don't know if it's public knowledge yet. Um,
It is now.
it is now, I guess. But I think they're changing how you get a pro card at nationals. So, at nationals at the end of the year, because there's a season A nationals for ICM, but that's done by New South Wales. And I think they're sticking to their normal rules of, each height class gets a pro card, unless they're going to override that for whatever reason. But from what Tony told me in season B, how he holds the nationals in Victoria, I think it's only the overall winner is actually going to get a pro card,
I
not the
prefer
high
that
class
because I
winners.
think
Mhm.
I think it gives it a bit more validity, and it means so much more knowing that you were the last one standing on top of the hill, so to speak. Not
That's
to say that anyone that's done an open class and won it isn't deserving of it, but I just think it probably gives, and I get early on why they maybe changed it because they needed to build a pro circuit to get a certain number of athletes. But I think if you've got like 5 open classes and then an Oceania and you're giving away 6 cards, yeah, I don't know.
I kind of like that qualifier concept though. So it'd be good if, okay, the overall winner of all the height classes gets their pro card, but the height class winners still can qualify to go into the pro show. And if they place at a certain placing, then they get a pro card. Because it's almost like those people may go against other pros that got it in a year where, let's call it, it was easier to get because they won it at their height class.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To say that they're any better than the ones that were in the height class for that year. So it'd be good to, and I think that's what NBA does, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
they do. I think there was some guys in my pro show. I think there was one of the guys that had won. He got invited to go into the pro qualifier, I think,
the pro
for
lineup. Yeah,
physique. Yeah, but I think you had to either. I can't remember. She told me because I obviously went into
Yeah,
that
well,
show. I wasn't an NBA pro, so to get a
you
pro card,
remember,
you had to
you
either win
remember a
it.
few seasons ago, you and I had both each had a guy who won their overall. So you had Lou and I had Baz, who both won their men's physique overalls and then went into the overall into the sorry, they both won their open classes and went into the overall, and then Lou won the pro card. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
they just gave it to one, even though they won the short and the tall height class.
Yeah. So what the
Yeah.
rule is now, if they were running a pro show that day, MG, Baz could have went into the pro lineup, and then if he got top three, then he'd get a pro card.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, which I like that concept because, again, it
hmm
depends who you go up against, right? So,
If you can stand up in a pro lineup and get a podium finish, then you deserve to be a pro because you can.
100%. Yeah, totally. So it's going to be an interesting year if that is going to be the rule for ICN to see how it all goes down. And if that is going to be the rule, or maybe we can influence Tony our opinion. We'll see how we go. All right, let's jump into some other questions. So obviously this year, as there always is, there's a lot of first timers that do season A. So we had a couple of first timer questions. The first one was actually about posing. So how often should you be posing? How do you structure your posing practice? Should you just do your front side back poses, then do your routine, or should you do it all at once? How do you structure your posing throughout your prep, and how often should you practice as a first timer? So I would say that most people should have a posing coach. So normally the posing coach will pretty much tell you how often you should practice, but I think it's best to practice what you know up until that point. So typically the way a posing coach works is they teach you a little bit, you learn it, you nail it, and they teach you a little bit more, you learn it, you nail it, and so on and so forth. So therefore your practice at the start of your prep or the start of your posing coach journey will be less duration because you only know a little bit. But as your posing sessions evolve, your posing practice will get longer because you'll know more. So therefore you have to practice more. So the duration of your posing practice will just get longer over time. But then as you start to get familiar with it, you can probably do all that practice in a shorter period of time. So, it won't take you that long to know how the stage walk works and how to go through your quarter turns or half turns or poses and things like that. But I think posing practice should be done on a daily basis. But at a minimum, I would say at least 3 to 4 times a week. And that's how I would normally structure posing practice. And within your posing practice, I normally have like mobility and stretching drills for people to do beforehand, because as we know, even with you, Scotty, and myself, like my mobility is not the best from a twisting perspective. So making sure that you do actually, do mobility drills and stretch before you pose or before each of your posing practices is going to be really, really important because, we see not only in females, but in males, making sure that your waist is side on so it looks as small as possible, but your shoulders are facing front means that you have to twist a hell of a lot through your spine. So you want to make sure that you create that illusion of a small waist and wide shoulders, which requires you to have really, really good rotation throughout your spine. So making sure that you are also including that too. I guess from a male perspective, and maybe Scotty, you can talk about this, but there's an endurance aspect to posing and having conditioning and fitness within posing, especially for the males, because they are flexing and tensing so much. So maybe you want to talk about what you would normally prescribe or suggestions that you would give athletes in their posing practice.
Yeah, so like you said, I think it's important that at least 3 or 4 times a week, and equally as you for my athletes, once they sort of get to 14 weeks out, we start to employ posing conditioning. So literally timed rounds of hitting a certain shot, holding it for X amount of time, 10, 15-second breather, quarter turn, both through the symmetry and the muscular rounds, especially if you're doing men's physique, classic physique, or bodybuilding. Men's fitness is a little bit easier because there's really only the symmetry round and the abs and thigh, but it's really important because if you're in a tough lineup or a big lineup and it's taking a long time for the judges to make their decision, you could be up there for some pro shows that I've done. I remember my first one, we're up there for over half an hour and it's absolutely exhausting. If they can't quite decide and you are right on the fringe and you get pipped because maybe you just weren't able to hold, that conditioning or to hold a certain pose when all eyes were on you because you were just fatigued, that would be obviously a tough burden to bear. So I think employing, well, firstly, you need to know your posing, getting the footwork right. And then obviously once you have that right and you can pose autonomously, it's about being able to pose and then hold it for a certain amount of time. So I actually give my athletes prescribed posing conditioning rounds. So it's usually 30 seconds on, 10-second rotation, and it's always done at the end of a training session. Because we've already accumulated some fatigue. So if you can pose and hold your poses for that amount of time when you're cooked and you're in the dieted condition, when you're on stage, you're fresh and you're carved up and you're not in a deprived energy state, it should be not an issue whatsoever. So I think it's important to be able to have that and equally not leave it to the last minute. I think a lot of first timers maybe wait until the back end when in reality you should be seeing, like I think I didn't compete until obviously September of 2017, but I remember I was seeing Vicky in 2016 because I had no idea how to pose or how to, and you find out, wow, I'm really lacking, thoracic extension rotation. I need to make sure I'm doing some T-spine mobility or I'm super tight through my pecs. So I need to get some manual therapy work to try and fix that. So all those things, if you leave that until the last minute, then sometimes it can be too late.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. How about you, MG? Anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think the thing that Scotty said at the end is I know a lot of people struggle to pose early in prep because they're not seeing what they want to see in the mirror because, you just started that diet. But you got to remember that when you walk out onto stage and if you're a first timer and there's lights hit you and there's 10 other people sitting next to you, when that pressure hits and, those nerves are high, you are going to revert to your lowest level of training. That's where you're going to go to. So that lowest level of training better be something that is just going to come out naturally. And I think, if you're at the start of your prep and you're not starting with 3 days a week as a minimum for 10 minutes, building that up into, as MT said at the start, every day, that's probably like the minimum guideline that I would suggest for people is like 3 days as a minimum from the moment you start prep, building up into virtually every day where you're going through your whole routine and you're recording yourself, sending it to your coach, taking feedback on, watching it back yourself multiple times, having a look at your shoulder position. Are you leaning one side to tipping one way too much? Where's your head sitting? Are you looking down? Like there's so many things that take so many efforts to perfect that if you think that you're going to do it once a week and get it perfect, unless your background is like, we've all got clients who have got dancing backgrounds who just are naturals at it and do it really easily. But for most of us, it takes so much practice. I'll always say for me, the posing is the hardest part of my prep. I can diet until no tomorrow. I can do all the training. It doesn't bother me one bit. The posing is the hardest for me. So for most of us, and I think a lot of males fall into this category too, practice is everything. And for the most part, not many people are doing enough. Yeah, I think if you can take anything from this answer is, Scotty definitely gave this to me, and it rocked my world when I started doing it. But that sort of Tabata style that Scott mentioned, which Scott passed on to me, which is insane. You try doing 8 rounds of 20, holding that pose for 20 seconds with a 10-second transition. Do that 4 times, so 4 by 8. And if you can't get through that, that might be exactly what they do to you on show day. So that's kind of the benchmark for what you need to set yourself.
And those Tabata timers and things like that, you can get apps on your phone that
Free. Yeah.
Yeah, that will have the timer. It'll beep at you when when it's the interval's ended and you know how to go into the next pose and things like that. So yeah, it's awesome advice. Really, really good. We just had a general advice for a first timer. Let's just give maybe one of the top things we could give someone that's a first timer and just some advice for them. So maybe MG, you want to go first? What's some advice you would give any first timer for this season coming up?
One of the things that we talk about all the time is, having trust in your coach and trusting the plan. And I think we talk about this a lot, but don't waste any time comparing yourself to anybody else. Everybody's journey is so different. Everyone's body responds differently. Everyone's protocols are so different. So, if you jump on social media and, there's a girl posting how she's getting shredded on 2,500 calories, or there's a coach boasting about how he's getting clients shredded on 2,500 calories. Just don't read into that stuff. There's no context. You don't really know anything. You don't even know if it's true. And ultimately, you're only going to hear the best versions and the best stories. Like, we've all probably got an athlete that we can get shredded on 2,500 calories, but we've probably all got 49 that need to get shredded on 12 or 1,300. So, but how many posts do you see from coaches that go out and talk about the ones that are dieting really low? Nobody. No one ever posts about the athlete dieting low. So stay off social media as much as possible. Don't compare yourself to anyone, and just trust that, if you do the work, the results will happen with the right planning, and that's what your coach is there for.
How about you, Scotty? Piece of advice for a first timer this season?
Embrace the suck. It happens, like, if you're going to get to the level of conditioning, bikini's probably outside the scope of that maybe, but in general, you're going to have days that are still going to be challenging, but you can choose to focus on a negative, because if you look for one, you'll always find one, or you can just accept that it is what it is and then just embrace it and move on. If it was, everyone would do it, but equally, it's part and parcel of this sport, which is why in a lot of ways it teaches you so much discipline, and there's so many life lessons outside of bodybuilding that you can learn from participating in a contest prep. So I think you just need to, aside from what MG said, I think that's a big piece, is you can only really have one voice. That in this day and age, there's a badge of honor for everyone that diets on more food, or no one ever puts a bad photo up on Instagram. So I think just staying in your own lane and just embracing the process and embracing the suck and whatever comes with it. And if you do that and you know that you've left no stone unturned, then regardless of any judge's feedback, your prep's been a success.
Yeah. I think a piece of advice that I'd give is make sure that you really have a meticulous structure and routine throughout your day and throughout your week. Everything's planned, prepped out for what you're going to do every single day, where you're going to allocate your training, where you're going to eat your meals, making sure you know what you're eating, have it all prepped in advance, know when you're going to do your posing practice and all that kind of stuff too. It's really, really important. It's going to underpin your success in your execution for the week. I think all of us, we just came out of Christmas and a holiday period, and most of us were not working or had a different routine and schedule. And you wouldn't be surprised that most of those people also found it hard to stay adherent to just the basics. So, that's just testament to how important it is to have a routine schedule and a structure for your day and for your week. And it's obviously super important within prep, because there's a lot of things we need to tick off for the day, a lot of non-negotiables. And, obviously sleep is so important. We don't want to leave things all to the last minute, because we want to make sure that we get a good amount of sleep. So we only got a certain amount of hours in a day, and all those hours are really, really critical in prep. We also had a question about advice to someone's partner. If you're someone's partner and your partner is in prep, what kind of advice can you give to them to help, support their partner that's in prep? Obviously, Scotty, you've been with someone that's been in prep. I have too, but I know we coach so many people that have partners, and we can really see that can sometimes make and break someone in prep too. So, MG, what advice would you give to someone's partner if they're trying to support someone through prep?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what Scott said before. I think for the partners, there's almost an element of embracing the suck too, right? Like being prepared that, things are not going to be exactly as they were before. There is going to be moments of sacrifice. If it's a partner who's wanting to chip in and do more, I would say, I've got some partners who are incredible at, helping with prepping and organization of food and doing some shopping that's, helps them to then cook their own meals and things like that. So there's always plenty that you can do. But I think the most important thing is, understanding that it is going to be a journey of change, and making that person feel bad for those changes is not going to end well for either party.
How about you, Scotty? Any advice for someone's partner?
I think checking in with your partner and communication is a big thing, because I think especially for athletes that have to get really, really lean at the back end, you probably can become a little bit more closed off, because you tend to, well, I can put my hand up and say that I always have tunnel vision, where you're literally hyper focused on something so specific. It's literally, this is when the next meal is, this is when the training session is, this is how lean I need to be on this day, like these are the checkpoints, etc. So I think as a partner, having someone who takes an interest, even if perhaps they don't love it. Like they may not love bodybuilding as much as what you do, but for example, they may just make a point to ask, how was training today? How are you feeling? Is there anything that I can do for you to help make it easier? Like for me, there are things that definitely don't go unnoticed for me. Like at the back end, when physically I'm not at my best, even though I'm trying my hardest to be. It could be if you've got kids, Jen might know that, okay, on a Saturday afternoon, Scott's going to be exhausted because he's had legs and he's deadlifted. And so I'm going to take the kids for a park for a bit, wear them out, and then they'll come home and then maybe we can all watch a movie together. Just giving a bit of consideration, but also understanding that it's not always going to be like that. Like there will come a time where as soon as the comp is done, and that's where the athlete has to be able to let go of that and not try and hold on to having abs for summer because there's bigger things at play. You need to get back to physiologically being normal again so that you can show up because your partner sacrifices just as much, if not in some ways more. They don't get to go out. Well, maybe they do, but they can't go out and have a meal with you out. And so you sort of have to find different things and they make those sacrifices. So I think it's important to acknowledge that. But again, being on the other side of it, I think it's nice when you have a partner or it's a nice gesture when they're constantly just checking in. How are you? Is there anything that I can do? Did you want me to get you meals ready for you? Or just giving some thought, especially at the back end, because in the first half, you really shouldn't be struggling. Like things are pretty cruisy. It's only when you get to that point, you go from being lean to shredded where it gets challenging. But I think communication's a really big thing. And again, we've been doing this a long time. I've seen relationships fall away. I've seen marriages fall away, and it's because for the most part, there's just not open communication. And it's not just on the person that isn't competing. A lot of the time it's the athlete themselves. It is a very selfish sport, but if you have a relationship or you have a family or kids, you also have to assess priorities in order in terms of, what comes first. And equally, in my opinion, when you have a family, you should be making bodybuilding fit around your family schedule versus when you don't have you don't have kids. We're talking that off there. You can train when you want, you can eat when you want, you can do whatever you want, and it changes. And, you'll experience that, MG, when the time comes for you to get on stage next year, but you're someone who your priorities will change straight away because me and your daughter are here and bodybuilding is here. And so you'll just make it fit. So if you've got to get up and train at 3:30 in the morning, then that's just what you'll do. If you're going to go and do cardio at 9 o'clock at night when your little one's in bed, so you can help with bedtime and bath, then that's just what you do. But yeah, that would be my biggest bit of advice. Just good sound communication.
Yeah, I think the partner needs to know that they are going to be sacrificing too. There's going to be changes in their life to help accommodate what you're going through. Let's just say you're living together. Obviously, your physical environment might change a little bit. Maybe the cookies and the chocolate that you like to dig into as a little treat maybe can't be there in the pantry anymore because it's going to be a temptation for the person that's in prep. Obviously, socializing around food and maybe dates and things like that are going to change a little bit. You're probably not going to go out on dates that involve food unless they're packing their food and you're doing a picnic or something like that. But you're most likely going to have to change the way that you spend some quality time together. And as you kind of mentioned throughout the back end of prep, they're probably going to fall asleep on the couch. They're going to be really, really tired. Their libido is going to change too. So don't take it personally in any way. Their mood might change. They might get maybe a little bit short with you sometimes. And maybe they might say things out of turn that is not normally them. But just know that it's just a symptom of what they're going through at the moment. So maybe you have to have a little bit more patience than what you normally do and a little bit more understanding of what you normally do. Also, too, I think that you need to just be careful with some of the things that you say. So one of the things I made sure is I never said if I was hungry or not, because if my partner's in prep, she's definitely more hungry than what I am. So I would never say, oh, I'm feeling a bit hungry at the moment. Like I'd never say anything like that. Or I'd never say, oh, I'm a little bit tired. Like, I've had a bit of a hard day because I'm probably on double the amount of calories they're on and, half the amount of activity. So maybe you've got to be a little bit mindful of the things that you complain about because they're probably going through a little bit more of a tougher time than you. So there's little things along the way, but I think all in all, the boys put the nail on the head where communication is going to be really important and just making sure that you understand that this is something they're going through. It's short term. It requires sacrifice from both ends. But also, too, is I think you actually learn a lot about your relationship and each other during that time. Because if you can't sacrifice with someone that you love in their prep, how are you going to sacrifice when maybe that person is bearing a child and they've got no sleep, or they can't do more difficult things in life than a prep is, and it puts more strain on the relationship than what a prep would ever do. So sometimes it's a little bit of an equalizer too, and it kind of gives you a bit of a taste of when things get tough in life, is that partner going to be there to support you and compromise with you and be with you through to the end? Because, prep is tough, but there's other things in life that may be more difficult. And this probably just showcases what the relationship is actually like. All right, let's move on to the next one. We're going to go something totally different. We're going to go into training. So if you could only do 3 exercises to maintain or improve your physique, what would they be? Let's go to you, Scotty.
Shoulder press, some form of plate loaded variation there. Overhead tricep extension, because I still need to build my arms, and probably some form of a deadlift because I enjoy picking up heavy stuff off the floor.
How about you, MG?
Some type of plate loaded incline press, leg extensions.
Okay.
I can love them, man. It's tough. My shoulders need a bit of work. I would say a lateral raise too.
Okay, cool.
Just trying to get the maximum bang for my buck in terms of like shape.
Yeah. I'd probably
What do you reckon?
go with like a pulling movement, so like a lat pull down or some kind of pulling movement. I'd go with the press, probably like an incline press. And then for lower, I think it's probably going to have to be like an RDL or something.
Yeah, how do you not have an RDL in there, man? Like,
Yeah. I think it's going to have to
You
be
need
an
a
RDL.
hip hinge compound.
you got to, yeah, you
A lot
got
of
to.
them.
Yeah. And then this is not going to be an exercise, but for the rest of my life, I'll just lunge everywhere, right?
You know what? You should tell the listeners the story. Maybe it's not for this episode because I know Scotty's got to go, but we've got a friend in our friend circle that wanted to grow his calves. MT kind of pulled his leg a little bit. And can we just tell it now quick?
Okay. So a friend of mine does not train, office worker, like has never seen the inside of a gym. And he said to me one day, I want to grow my calves. Like, how do I grow them easily? I said, all you got to do is just walk around on your tippy toes all day. And what to do is create a rule. Whenever you're in your house, you need to be walking on your tippy toes. He took it seriously and he did it, right? And he came back about 2 months later. He's like, I think that worked, MT. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, walking around on my calves while I'm in my house. I was like, I was only joking about it. He took it seriously. But what's so funny is this is how dedicated this guy is with calf training. So we went to America, to New York with the boys on a trip. The first day we got there, there's a gym and a hotel. It was actually pretty decent. And we're like, you know what? We just come off the plane, a big flight. Let's go do a session in the morning, and then we'll do some exploring for the rest of the day. So we all go in there. Again, this guy is with us. Never seen the inside of a gym, but he knows what a calf raise machine is, right? So we're in there for about an hour. All he does is calf raises for 1 hour straight. That's all he does, right? The next day, he could not get out of bed. He could not walk at all. We had a full day of exploring. He spent a full day in New York City in a hotel room because he could not walk at all. His calves were absolutely killing him. It was so funny. Oh.
Can't wait to see him on Friday night.
Yeah. Now people are going
Who was
to know.
that?
It's one of the guys that come on
Dave.
Friday night. Huh? Okay.
Yeah. Can we also finish with a bombshell?
Yeah, go.
Am I allowed to say this on air? Is Drew not single anymore?
Yeah, Drew's not single.
Oh,
Wow.
Scotty doesn't even know this.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I haven't spoken to Drew's. Well, I haven't spoken to lots of people, but wow.
Yeah, Drew's no longer single. Sorry, ladies. He's been snapped up. He's no longer single.
Yeah.
Is it that Virgin Gate girl that when we were flying?
Oh, that story. That's right. I'm like, who the fuck is he talking about?
No,
What was her name? Was it Christina or something?
it's not the girl from Virgin Airlines, no.
Oh no.
That is funny.
We'll have to update you on Scotty, but I think he's got a winner there, and he's really, really happy.
Oh, awesome.
Obviously, I've seen him a couple times with her, and he's definitely in love. So
You sure is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gorgeous.
And do you know what? She's hit the jackpot because he's an
Yeah,
absolute
she's definitely hit the
legend.
jackpot, man.
He's an absolute legend. He's one of the all-time greats.
yeah, he's an awesome guy. All right, let's finish it there, boys.
Good show, boys. Well done.
It was good to catch up. I'm keen to
It
catch
was.
up more. I know offline we need to do a lot more talking. So I'm keen to catch up, have a really, really good chat. But this is the first potty for the year. I think we're like episode 81. So
81. Yeah.
so we're getting there. Maybe I have to work out the weeks.
Maybe for the
Scotty,
100th, how good would it be if it landed? If you guys just set up somewhere at like Melbourne Airport when I arrive, just like have the headsets ready, and I'll just come and sit down and
We'll
can
just
let you know how it's
yeah,
because it won't be that far out. If we're episode 81, it's 19 weeks back in June.
pretty close.
I
Maybe
was
we'll
just
take a
thinking
couple
that.
of little sabbaticals in there to just make that happen.
Sounds
I
good,
was
man.
just thinking that. I think that maybe episode 100 roughly might be when you're back. So
That's cool. And are we going to do a live one in Bali or not? That's
yeah,
going to be
actually,
hard to try and get out time wise, but
the
equally, I'm sure
the
we
um
could.
the people that are coming to Bali, they've already asked that question. They're like, "Are we going to be on the potty? Like, are you going to do a potty in the week of Bali?" So
Maybe
I'm
we could do it live in the where we're doing all of the lectures in the lecture room.
sure.
You could just set it up there.
Yeah,
That'd be cool, and everyone has
like,
a front row seat.
yeah,
Let's do
live
it.
audience Q&A. That'd be good. Actually, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it there, boys.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for
All right,
listening.
boys. Take care. Have a good
See you
one.
guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.